holler and you want me to call it. Yeah, I mean, that is the bottleneck, you know, everyone buys all this stuff and you give them about 2 hours of darkness on one day.
Yeah.
It was like hazy across
Yeah.
town
It was,
when I got
driving
back.
home, I was like, oh.
Well, and then what you run into, what if it, that 3 hours it's pouring rain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
You've got all this stuff now, you can't use it unless you find somebody out in the country.
Yeah.
Because what the state law runs, what through, is it through the middle of July?
Yeah,
What's
it's
the
like
date?
2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe if we gave a lot of time, it wouldn't be as bad,
Yeah, maybe.
you know?
And again, we tightened it up because we had a ton of complaints, you
Yeah.
know? And then I think to appease them, like, look, you basically gotta survive one night. Now it's like the purge. It's the purge of
Yeah, it is.
fireworks.
That's what I said to somebody on Facebook. This is the price of freedom, okay?
Yeah, it sounded like explosions going off
Mhm.
over on Boone Street. I agree. I thought it was maybe Walnut, but I think it was
No.
Boone.
I heard their investment in fireworks was in the thousands. That's what Adam told us. He heard from someone that was like 7,000, I think.
Holy
I
cow.
was like, well,
Yeah, I spent $20 on sparklers. I
I
thought that
think
was
I did
steep.
too. I did buy one little fountain. That was it.
Sparklers are almost the dangerous type of fireworks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did mine in the country.
Because how
I
hot
also
they are.
burnt my finger
Yeah.
though too.
Did you?
Yeah. It like shot back.
They can get you in the face though too if you don't have them far enough away.
I just think they're dangerous because you give them to 2-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
If
Henry and
somebody's
Frankie
600
threw him on the
degrees,
grass
take
and
it.
I'm like, that's kind of what.
That's what my son did to his grandpa, like just poked him. Like, oh boy. Turn these on.
I'll call the July 5th, 2022 city council meeting to order. Roll call.
Abby Hansen,
Here.
John Hawkins, Megan McFarland, sorry.
Here.
Matt McKinney,
Here.
Logan Welch,
Here. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Up first on the agenda is petitions, communications, and requests. This is the time of the meeting that a citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. Please no more than 5 minutes per person. And second, except in case of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask city staff to research the matter or have matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. Any public information from the council? From the community? You'd like to speak, David? Please.
Okay. Well, good evening and thanks for seeing me. I'm coming in just for a single request. It has to do with a power transformer that's located, I think, at like 1942 Industrial Park Road, which was the former Parent Industries facility. And our business, which is also Parent Machining Company, we intend to rent that property. So I've been speaking with the landlord. We'd like to take it over the 1st of August. And there's a power service to the building, but there's also, I believe it's a 460 service in there, and of which this transformer is used for. And so it's important to me that that remains. And so I've spoken with our city manager, Daniel, about that. And that's why I came tonight, was just to put it before the council. I'm requesting you guys will leave the transformer there and not charge us for the transformer. That's based on the city put a transformer at another location of ours. I don't know if it's been 7 years ago, which is 102 McKinley Cantor, which is the former Farm Journal.
I knew what you were going.
Yeah, building. And so currently we're putting minimums, I think, in 3 locations. This will be 4. And we're needing the space. Our plans are to use more power. I don't like to go into agreements where I'm going to promise or have contingencies, but we have continued to use more power over time. And we have more machine tools coming in our order. And we need the space and we need the power. So that's my entire request. So I don't know at this point, can that become an agenda item in the future, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm sure it can. Can you kind of fill us into the background of this? Like what's the debate?
Yeah, the question is, back in June or July of 2018, the council approved an economic development agreement by way of a conditional loan with Dave's son, Jonathan Perrin, for the council approved for forgivable loan for the cost of upgrading the transformer to that property, a little over $13,000, conditioned upon, at the time, Jonathan, his company, meeting certain employment figures that he had provided over the next 10 years. Since then, Jonathan's business has fallen through and he's filed for bankruptcy. And per the terms of the agreement is once there's a default, there's a 10-day notice sent, and essentially the city would retake or take back that transformer. And so that's the question of kind of where we're at. Now, the Iowa State Constitution says you can't gift public funds without there being a public purpose, which is why most of these agreements are done in the form of an agreement to satisfy the state constitution and the auditors. In that particular case, we did it based off of job creation, based on the number of jobs he would create. And over the next 10 years, that loan would be forgiven. I know I've mentioned this to Dave, and he doesn't want to do an economic development agreement for whether job creation or job retention. And so that really kind of leaves very limited options that you guys could do outside of that. So we can agendize that for a future meeting and have Zach chime in more on the legalities of what you can do in this situation.
No, sounds good. I think we'd be open to discussion and kind of see how we can get creative. But again, I default to a city attorney who's not present right now to see just kind of what options we have. So maybe we could put on an agenda in the future with some options on your side and his and talk it through a little more.
Yeah. When is the next city council meeting?
It'd be the 2 weeks from today,
August.
from yesterday.
Or August.
July 18th.
July 18th.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Dave.
Yeah.
Any other public information? Hearing none, I'll move on to item 2, minutes, claims, reports, and licenses. The following items have been deemed to be non-controversial, routine actions to be approved by the city in a single motion. If a council member or member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, it will be considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. We have A, minutes of June 20th, 2022. B, resolution on payroll for the period ending June 18th, 2022 and paid on June 24th, 2022. C, a resolution on bills and approve the fund list. And D, the fire department report for May. We also have E and F, which are city council committee reports and other reports and recommendations, which we have none.
Move to approve collectively.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Up next is general agenda. Item A, this is a resolution establishing fees for services beginning July 5th, 2022. Daniel, would you like to kind of brief us on this?
Yeah, I think this is the second time we've updated the fee schedule in the last probably 6 months. We were trying to get this on the agenda for June so that they were effective July 1st, but we had a few additional changes, including the ORV changes that we're going to be talking about here shortly. Apologize that the exact changes weren't colored red as they usually were, but some of the changes that were made were related to nuisance ordinance violations, reflecting the increased cost and the correct cost that was, I believe, previously misstated in the previous fee resolution. Some of the other changes also included with Parks and Recreation were earlier this year, the Park and Recreation Commission voted to increase the shelter rental fee in some of the parks. One, I think it was Wilson Brewer Park was going to be increased to match, or actually it was probably West Twin to match what the reservation fee would be for for the Brewer Creek shelter. So they wanted to make sure those were aligned and the same. Those other few minor increases, but those are the two main ones that I'm aware of that were included in there. I had staff go through it. I think there were some minor increases as well related to rental equipment. We talked about with the added cost of fuel, the surcharges related to how that all applies and the fees that are assessed. For most of the equipment charges, those are usually recouped when there's an after outage call where it's a customer's responsibility or there's an accident cleanup or contractor issue that requires our street crew or line crew to go out after hours.
Very good. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Up next is item B. This is a discussion on legislative House File 2130 relating to registered all-terrain vehicles and off-road utility vehicles. This is changes in charging license / permit fees. Any other changes to be considered?
Yeah, this was a change. I think we had talked about when we first adopted the ORV changes to allow for ORVs to be driven on Superior and Second Street. Our previous ordinance didn't allow for that, and we amended this earlier this year to allow that, knowing that those are probably gonna be future changes. The law changed, and it does allow for vehicles to be driven on highways and streets. One of the other changes, I believe, was the fees that can be assessed. I don't believe you can no longer assess those fees, but then it requires two questions for you. One, do you still want to have an application process? And two, the ORV language in the law does not apply to golf carts where our current ordinance does. So those are two questions that we're looking for guidance from you on how you want to proceed.
So like, for instance, is the fee the same for a golf cart?
Yep.
And- Okay.
Yep.
And you get a little sticker and the police department use that, regularly. I mean, do they check that?
I don't know if they've had a lot of issues with any of the ORVs or golf carts.
So with the changes, are they gonna be licensed through the state then? Like a snowmobile or a boat? or-
County, I believe, was going to establish some sort of permitting or
What
I
I
think you'd want some
understand,
sort of registration if they're gonna be driving on city streets.
what I understand, the county will still be able to do their permits and charge a fee, but this just particularly says that cities can no longer charge a fee.
But so, I mean, that's a good point, though. I mean, is the county looking into a broad registration of these? Because again, there would be no really record of the vehicle, or what it is, what it isn't.
Actually, I think you have to go to the county and register it with the state
Mhm.
is how it's going to be. And I don't know
Makes
whether it'll be
sense.
a license plate or whether it'll be a sticker. I'm not real sure. I've not seen that anywhere.
Snowmobiles, Watercraft.
Now,
boats, no.
This is somewhat, I mean, I have a golf cart that I register, so I mean, I would think if we took away from the ORVs, it'd probably be relevant to also take away from the golf cart, process, unless that golf cart fee could help cover the payment we can't receive back from the ORV tracking. So, I mean, if we are doing some type of tracking still of registering through the city, it would be nice to have some type of fee structure coming in, but I wouldn't want to put it all on the golf cart owners, either, so. Because it says nothing about golf carts in this house file, right? It's just
Right.
all, right.
The House file also mentions ATVs. We have a separate section in the ordinance that addresses those, so I need to get with Zach to find out if they have to be allowed in town as well, or if we can stick with our current ordinance and not allow ATVs.
So that would be like a legal decision? Like, I mean, that would be,
yeah, I think the hard part with requiring an application process for the ORV is not knowing how the state and the county are going to fully implement theirs and how do we, there's no accountability if there's not having to pay for something. So that's gonna be the difficult part. I don't know if the law was specific enough that if we want to create an application process and then someone doesn't register, do we impose a fine or a fee, and then does that violate the state law that certainly just did
Right.
away with those fees?
Right.
So that probably creating a process to track ORVs is going to be difficult. Down at the golf carts, there are a couple, I don't know how many we have registered, not as much as the ORVs, I know
No, I
that for a
think-
fact.
We have like 175 total permits that we've issued. Of those, probably 15 or 20 are golf carts. So very, very few compared to the ORVs.
And you're seeking direction from council how to move forward?
Sure, yeah, or we can also wait to get more clarification on what the county is going to do. And come back to the next meeting, or if you want to stick with having the golf cart permit process, we can work on that. And if there's any major changes, we can certainly bring that back later. I think trying to track the registration of the ORVs might be difficult for us on our end, given how nebulous the state law is and how do we enforce that and what fees can we assess or cannot.
I would recommend we wait to see what the county is gonna do then. I mean, if they're gonna sticker ORVs with the registration, that if they were violating law in town, they could check that registration through I don't know how that would work, though. If the office is open, you might be able to check, and if not, you just have to record it and call the next day. Get the
Yeah,
contact
so I don't know-
information.
I don't know that they'll treat it like a vehicle plate where you can
Mhm,
quickly tell whether it's registered or not.
Probably
There's
not.
a couple other things too in our ordinance that I don't know if they're tied to tracking, but like slow moving vehicle sign on the golf carts, the flag, stuff like that still can be relevant, but I just would probably take away it all if the county's doing something anyway, but yeah, I say we just wait till Zach gets back, get some more direction on that, and maybe in the meantime, talk to the county. But we're not in violation of anything with the House file currently, right? I mean, we obviously have to change it, but we have some time.
We're not charging.
Right.
I had somebody come in the end of last week. I did not charge him, but I went ahead and gave him a sticker and took the information that he had, his insurance and all of that, until we decide which direction we're gonna go.
Sounds good. Moving along to item C, this is a request for a local initiative for transformation, AKA LIFT, WC, to close the 700 block of Second Street, the Des Moines Street to the alley, including the intersection of Second and Des Moines Street to the east, to allow for beer/wine within street closure and assistance from the city departments on the use of barricades, tables, trash cans. And this would be on August 6, 2022. It's a Saturday from noon to approximately 10:30 PM for the annual LIFT WC summer block party.
Move to approve?
Yeah, the only question that would come up with this, sorry to interrupt, but with the recent discussions we've had with alcohol within a closed public right of way, that's one thing we let LIFT know to make sure we're treating everyone the same and having the same protocol and requiring insurance and liability for that.
Yeah.
And there's another comment too. Carolyn and I were talking before the meeting. You say this goes into the intersection of Des
From what I
Moines.
understand, it's gonna come through the intersection
So-
of Des Moines and Second.
So Des Moines would be shut off.
Correct.
Between this time, okay.
We're not sure, we're seeking clarification, like in Ragbri, when they had the 2 trailers set up for the stage, we're not sure if that's probably what they're thinking of doing that there.
And again, it's a Saturday, we don't have any major road construction going on around that block, so, yeah.
They just need to make sure that there's always an aisle for emergency vehicles to get through. If that is where they're gonna wanna put the stage, they need to make sure that there's access.
Sure. So I have a motion on the floor still.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Very good. Item 4 is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. We are adjourned.